Hey guys, happy Thursday. Um, it is 11:30 a.m. A little earlier today. I had a call, so I have a call. So I think I posted 11:30. So hopefully we're good here. I'll wait a second for some of you to hop on. Few quick housekeeping things. A lot of new people here, guys. If you're new, make sure you introduce yourself. This is the kind of group where we actually talk to one another, and I want you guys to meet each other and build this community. So make sure you introduce yourself if you're new. I tagged you in a welcome post. You can say hello there. Just quick in the comments where you're from, how long you've been teaching, things like that. Anything you want to share with us. So make sure you do that. The other thing I just want to say for anyone who's new, Hoerner Happy Hour. Every week I do this live. It's always on Thursday unless I'm traveling, and it's usually around between 11 a.m. and 1 Eastern time, because I'm in Boston, so that's what I go by. Can we just, look how cute she is, guys. Sorry, she's so cute. She's sick. She has an ear infection, so I gotta take her to the vet today, but anyway, sorry. So Hoerner Happy Hour, every week I'm in here answering questions. So any questions you have, when they pop in your head, feel free to throw them in the group and just tag me. But make sure you tag me. I see a lot of questions in here. Sometimes I miss them. If you don't tag me in them, I'm not going to see them, and I won't assume that you want me to talk about them in Hoerner Happy Hour. Sometimes I'll see a good one, and I'll steal it and put it in Hoerner Happy Hour anyways. But usually, unless you tag me, I won't talk about it. So if you want me specifically to answer, make sure you tag me. If you're just asking the group in general, feel free to post whatever you want, but just remember, if you want me to answer, tag me. You can also send me, I have a lot of people who send emails or direct messages, people that don't necessarily want other people in this group to know that they're asking the question. Totally fine. Just, again, message me or email me. I'll do it that way, and I won't say your name, so don't worry about that. So first question we had is from one of our newer people. I actually got this asked on Instagram through a direct message. So she just joined this group. I wanted to answer a question because I think it's really unique and also really helpful for all of us. So she asked me, she's in a country where, so let me rewind. She wants me to explain how I can describe, or how we can describe, flat roads, right? So there's a lot of different ways to do this. Everyone kind of has their own unique ways. I have talked about this a little bit before, but the reason she's asking is because she lives in a country where women are not allowed to ride bikes. So it's very difficult to explain a flat road if someone doesn't know what that feels like already from an outdoor bike, right? Because a lot of us, and I know I do this, sometimes I'll say, you know, close your eyes, imagine you're riding outside and get yourself to what that flat road would feel like. But if that's not an option, if you're in a place where people can't ride bikes, or women especially, which is a shame, then it's going to be very hard to describe that. So a few things you can say, and there's a lot of different ways. You're going to have to figure out what hits, and what hits will be different for each different person. But what you can explain is at the beginning of class, you can show them what it feels like to ride with zero resistance. So have them completely strip their wheel, tell them to be careful. You're just trying to give them a sense of what riding with no resistance feels like. And then have them turn the wheel or move the lever, whatever it is, until they get to the point where that resistance kicks in. So just over the hump where they're starting to feel a little pressure under their feet, that's where you want them to get to. And then it might be a little bit heavier for them if they're more experienced or a little bit stronger to get to that flat road. But in general, that little piece where that hump is, where that resistance comes on, that's what we're looking for. So freewheeling, just make sure you're guiding them through. Obviously, being with no resistance is very dangerous. You just want them to feel where they don't want to be. And then you explain, you know, this is what no resistance on your bikes feel like. We don't ever want to be here. So if you're ever on your bike and you strip the wheel too much and you get to this point, make sure you add a little bit more on. I think there is value in showing people what that feels like so that they know not to be there, right? The bike, the wheel is doing the work for them. It's dangerous. They're going to go out of control. They're going to wobble. They're going to bounce. And then once you add a little bit on till they get to that little point where you flip over and you feel that resistance, there's a lot more control. So have them kind of teeter over that ledge a little bit so they can feel what each side is like, and they'll start to get a feel for it, but it does take some time. You know, the legs are pushing against something, but not something so heavy that they're already on a hill, just something underneath their feet. So again, it's going to take some time to learn what hits with your riders and how to explain it, especially I'm guessing you're using a different language based on the country that you're in. So the wording will be different, but you'll get there. You just have to, it's a lot of repetition and a lot of practice. So keep at it. Hopefully that was helpful and you can use some of that in your classroom. Let me know how it goes, even if it's private. I know you don't want to share, so that's fine. Second question. This one's awesome. Kim, they're all awesome, but this one is different, and I really like this because it brings a good point up. Kim asked about nutrition certifications, and I've said before, you know, one of the biggest things we have to keep doing as instructors, both for ourselves to keep engaged and to keep excited, and also for our clients, is continuing education in as many different ways as you want, and that includes things that are not related to the bike. And I think nutrition is perfect, and I don't think a lot of people have the education that they need around nutrition, especially fitness instructors. I'm actually building, in the process of building a program related to nutrition and cross training for instructors. If you guys are interested, by the way, message me. You can maybe be a beta tester for me because I'm going to need a few of you. Side note, so Kim, I have 3 technically nutrition certifications that I count. I have a few others, but they're little. Precision Nutrition is probably what I would recommend for you. You can check it out. They are incredible. They have a lot of infographics. You've probably seen them. When it comes to a nutrition certification that's going to help you help clients who are starting at the basic level, PN is awesome. It walks you through, it's very robust, it's pretty expensive, but it walks you through exactly what you need to know to coach other people on nutrition. And you'll probably learn a lot yourself. Again, it is pricey, so it's an investment. I think it's worth it, but that would be my #1 recommendation for you. I've done it, I love it. I still reference things, I still use their infographics. They're always coming out with new stuff. It's pretty awesome. And honestly, if you don't want to pay for the certification, they have a lot of free stuff just on their website that you could use as well. So that's also an option if you want to start there and get your feet wet a little bit. I also have a nutrition certification with Metabolic Effect. They're a little bit smaller, lesser known. Jade Tita, if any of you know him, I met him in person. He's brilliant. He started Metabolic Effect, which is a little bit nutrition focused now. He's kind of shifting on his own, but it's also fitness, everything. They've been around for a while. He knows his stuff. He gets into the weeds with the science of it. So if you're really interested in the hormone pieces and how that all works into it, especially in relation to women's health, he's your man. And Metabolic Effect is the nutrition certification that you want. But again, it's very in the weeds of the science of it. So you have to be a little bit of a geek like me if you want to learn that stuff. I know that, so I'm certified as a personal trainer through ACE. I know that they have a few nutrition specialist certifications as well. I've done some of their continuing ed nutrition. I didn't love it. It's just very broad, but I think their actual specialist certification is pretty good from what I hear. So that's also an option. I would imagine the other personal training certifications offer something like that as well. So you can look into like NASM, ACSM, all those. Oh no, I'm frozen. Okay, good. That was weird. What else? So just one thing to keep in mind is if you do any of these certifications, they are great. They're very helpful. They're very informational. You'll be able to help your clients. But unless you go back to school and you become a registered nurse or a dietitian, you can't call yourself a dietitian. Nutritionist is a less regulated term, so there are a lot of people on the internet calling themselves a nutritionist. I wouldn't even go that far. When I work with my clients, I say I'm a nutrition coach. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't help them with their goals, right? But to be able to use the term dietitian, you have to have the proper schooling, and there's a lot of it. It is a specific regulated medical term. So just be careful with that if you are doing any of these certifications, that you're not calling yourself something that you're not really supposed to be. But you are a nutrition coach if you get these certifications, and that's fine to say. So just a little disclaimer there, because I see that a lot and it's just not right. So anyways, there's a lot of, reading and understanding that goes along with these certifications, but there's also a lot of ongoing stuff. So you got to stay up on current trends. I mean, I could have gotten my certifications are a few years old now, but I still stay up on everything that's new. So for example, keto is a relatively new trend, very, very misunderstood on the internet, very misunderstood as a diet. We can talk about that if that's something you guys want to know. I could do a whole hour-long discussion on keto and pros and cons and all that good stuff. It is interesting, but there's a lot to it. So anybody who gets a nutrition certification, just keep in mind that you're not done when your nutrition certification ends, as you aren't with an instructor certification, right? We're always learning, always growing. You have to really want to keep going with it and keep learning. And I'll step off my soapbox now and hop into the next question. So last question we have for today, and if you guys have more, feel free to comment. I don't think we have anything in here. Hey, Melissa, thanks. I don't think we have any other questions. So while I'm answering this last one, if you guys come up with anything, post it in the comments. I'll make sure I check one more time. Stephanie asked, and this was awesome, how do we deal with competition opening near you? So Stephanie, being in Boston, I totally get this. It is a struggle, let me tell you. It's painful. So there's competition in many different ways. I actually, and I don't know if, I think I've told you guys this, I was gonna open my own studio. I got to the point where I was about to sign the lease and then realized, you know, I wanna manage a studio for a few years and then see how it goes. So I learned a lot about distance and competition and pros and cons and all that. So a couple things here. Competition sometimes can be a good thing if it's the right kind. So if you have a Barry's Bootcamp or an Orange Theory or any sort of, you know, personal training studio or whatever, even a gym open up nearby, if they don't have a really good spin program at that gym, or if it's one of those other things I mentioned, it will actually help you because it brings people to the area, it brings fitness people, and it will also bring them to your studio or your gym. If you have another cycling studio, if you're, for example, if you're a gym and you have a cycling studio open up next door, or if you're a cycling studio and you have a gym with good cycling open up next door, or another studio, it's tough, and it's going to be tough. You really can't do anything about it. The biggest thing that you can do is focus on your strengths. So, for example, I manage a cycle bar not far from my house. We have an Orange Theory around the corner. We have a Barry's Bootcamp not that far away. We have another cycling studio, a very luxurious cycling studio, literally a 2-minute drive that opened up in the last couple of years. And, you know, if you drive an extra 10 minutes, there's pretty much anything you can imagine. So there's a lot of competition for us. What we focus on is that really high-end studio that's not that far from us. So I'll give you an example of what we do, and maybe it'll give you an idea of what you can do. And Stephanie, I'm assuming you're a manager, I believe. So I'm assuming you're asking on the managing aspect. If you're not, and you're talking about just buffing up your classes to compete, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to stick to the business side. So what we do, like I said, this cycling studio down the road is very luxurious. They have very high-end everything. It's a beautiful studio, great classes. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about them, but they are very different from us. So our cycle bar is the original cycle bar. So my dog is going crazy over here. Our benefit is that we have an incredible community of riders, people that have literally been riding with us for over 10 years. They love us because it's a family, right? We focus on that community aspect. We do a ton of fundraising rides. We do a lot of stuff in the studio to kind of bring people together. We know everyone's name. It's really a community, and that keeps people around. So that's a huge benefit. And I'd say our other biggest benefit is our pricing. So we might not have the most luxurious of studios compared to this other guy down the road, but at least our prices are a little bit cheaper, so we get that different demographic. So what I would say for you is to focus on your strengths compared to that competition. So get to know your competition really well. Go ride with them, send people to go ride with them, get feedback from your riders who go ride with them. understand as much as you can about them, and then figure out where you win. So they're going to win in some aspects. Maybe like us, maybe it's a beautiful, luxurious new studio, modern, awesome, or, you know, but maybe they're higher priced. So you win in the pricing aspect. You win in the community aspect. You find your strengths and you leverage the crap out of them. And at the end of the day, honestly, what it really comes down to is your instructors. You have to have good instructors. You have to have people that draw in your riders to a point where they just want to come back just to see that person. So that is a huge piece of it. But again, and we can talk about this, Stephanie, individually if you want. We can talk about, I don't know what your competition looks like and specifically what you're dealing with, but there's a lot of things you can do. Most of it is playing to your strengths and getting good instructors. But again, and you guys, I love talking this business stuff. I almost started my own. I got all the way through, you know, 100-page business plan, financial modeling, all that crap, almost leasing the studio. I now manage. I've been managing for a while now. I also work for a fitness consulting group, and we basically help people start up gyms and studios. So I have a lot of experience here. If there's a lot of people in here or who are managers, owners, or want to be, I'm always happy to answer those questions as well. So make sure you ask them. Don't be afraid to. I'm here for you guys. Always, always, always. So I'm rambling. I have a lot to say, clearly. Those were really good questions today. Thanks, guys, for asking them. As always, if you have more follow-ups to what I said or any questions about it, either message here, comment here, or private message, email, whatever you want to do. These are good conversations. I love it. So keep it going. All right. It is, I didn't even say Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Sorry, it's been a rough day. I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram story. Wore 2 different colored sneakers. Didn't even realize until I got to the studio this morning to teach my class. Wore my husband's jacket by accident. Also only had 1 earring in. So I'm on the struggle bus. Anyways, it is a beautiful day. I'm going to go enjoy the sunshine, take the dog for a walk. Oh, Melissa, that's a great question. I actually answered that. I took over the class 3 weeks. Okay, so first of all, okay, so Melissa just asked a question in the comments. She said she took over a class at 24 Hour Fitness. The class only has 6 riders. What would you suggest to get more? I took it over 3 weeks ago. So Melissa, where did you teach somewhere before? Or you're not a brand new instructor, right? I think you taught somewhere before, or maybe you subbed. Let me know. But either way, 3 weeks is not enough. Give yourself some time. It takes a while to build a base. What I always tell people, and you can go back the last, I think a few Hoerner happy hours ago, I answered this question, and even longer ago, I answered it similarly before. The key, I think, is getting to know your riders, right? So walk around at the beginning of class. The beauty of only having 6 riders is you get to know everyone. So go ask their name, chat with them a little bit, get to know them, build that relationship, build that rapport. And some of it is just going to be them getting used to seeing your face and getting to know you. I think it really takes months for people to hook onto an instructor and keep coming back. Some people are only coming in to ride, you know, once a week, maybe even less. Some are more regular, but some are less. So you got to give them that time to get to know you and really build your base. 3 weeks is not enough. So don't be shocked that you don't have a ton yet. You'll get there. And we can talk about this. I know I just, no, it's not your first place. Okay. So you know what you're doing then. So you'll get people. Just keep listening for the feedback after class as well. It might be different where you're teaching, and maybe it's different from what you were doing before, or different time slot, things like that. But really get to know your people. I really think that makes a big difference. And just keep listening for feedback. You're still so early, being only 3 weeks in. Give yourself some time to build. And we can rehash this too in a few weeks, in a month or so, if you still don't have a good number of riders. And what I've been doing recently is, for any instructor who thinks it might be your class or the way you're teaching, if you want to film a couple songs and send them to me, I'm happy to review them for you. So that's always an option, but I'm sure you're doing fine. It's probably just going to take a little time. So give yourself some space to grow. Enjoy the small classes by getting to know people, really build that relationship, and then see what happens over the next few weeks. And come back in here, let me know how things are going. Okay, guys, sun is in my face. I'm going to head out. I think that's all we got for today. Good questions, as always. And anything else, always ask them. I'll be in and out of this group always. Fun stuff in here. And welcome all the newbies. I'm so glad to have you. This group is always growing, and it's a beautiful thing. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. And again, Happy New Year.